welcome back to The Outward Effect, a podcast in which unique perspectives challenge us to be better versions of ourselves. We're two ambitious women who like to talk about how we like to stretch our creativity and work on self-growth to become better people. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Tempsy, and today we have another special guest. Welcome to the podcast, Emily Jaime, owner and founder of Yireh. Welcome, Emily.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to have you. For those of you out there who know of Emily and Yireh, or those who don't, Yireh is ethically made women's resort wear with a mission to inspire and encourage women. Not only is Yireh founded on ethical manufacturing principles, but they also practice sustainability by using eco-friendly printing methods with natural dyes and repurposing their waste. Yireh is a growing community of over 30,000 women who don't want to sacrifice their values for their sense of style. Such a wonderful thing that you're doing in the world right now. Thank you so much for joining us today.
That's amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I'm so happy to be here, and I just am honored for this opportunity, and you two are so inspiring. So I'm just truly honored. Thank you.
Oh, you're so sweet. We are just as honored, by the way, to have you on.
Yes, absolutely.
These conversations are so important and so awesome. And I just always think, women, us women, entrepreneurs have so much to offer one another, and just conversations like this open up just great ways to motivate and inspire each other.
We agree 100%.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your business? I know I kind of summarized it a little bit, but why don't you go into it a little bit deeper if you want to, and give our listeners a little bit more insight?
Yeah, so Yireh is ethically made women's resort wear, and I have really focused on creating a business model that is sustainable and has values that I can that kind of coincides with my own values. I've always been a supporter of slow fashion and wanting to really create with purpose and intention rather than just creating things to create. So everything that I make, I really want to make sure it's versatile, that many different women can wear it, and that our manufacturing principles are something that, when customers make a purchase, they trust us to know that everything was made responsibly. But I guess above all, my mission has always been to inspire and encourage women. And I just really want to create a platform and a way to connect one-on-one with women and make them feel valued, seen, and heard, and create products that evoke joy and, bring out a natural beauty of a woman.
Oh my gosh, I think that's so amazing. And I do definitely think, and I can see it, that is something that is coming about because of your brand and all of the amazing things that you do. So that is so awesome.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about that journey? What inspired you to start a business? How did you get into it? What drew you to starting Yireh?
Yeah, it's, I've always been super creative, all throughout. I remember when I was in elementary school, I would create things and go door to door selling them to my neighbors.
Oh, that's
And
sweet.
yeah, totally different times back then. It's funny thinking about that. But then, in high school, I was the one creating jewelry and selling it to my friends. And so then I just always had this desire to create things that I loved and that I really enjoyed and wanted to share them with others. So after school, I had the opportunity to travel to Bali, and then I actually traveled around the world, and I just fell so in love with other cultures and meeting artisans and seeing products created right before my eyes, getting to meet artisans, watching them create something and seeing the behind the scenes method of how this type of industry works. And I just was enamored by it. It just really caught my attention, and it was something I wanted to be a part of, especially seeing, the dark side of the industry, I guess, and how people, they show up and they work in some places just endless hours and, barely getting paid. And that broke my heart, and I really wanted to so I had this desire to create something, but I didn't want to be a part of an industry that did that. So I had this idea that I wanted to work, one-on-one with manufacturers or artisans that, I believed in and that I wanted to support. And I had an opportunity to move to Indonesia when I was 21 on a scholarship to study abroad. And I like took every ounce of that opportunity and just like, I just lived it to its fullest. I like went out and I found, people I wanted to work with, and I started developing products. And that's really how it started. I was 21 and I didn't know what I was doing. I just had a passion to want to, create something and share it in a responsible way.
That's so
Oh, that's so
wonderful.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what an awesome way to like learn about that, like seeing it firsthand, kind of behind the scenes. I feel like that was maybe one of the best ways to go about it, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting because businesses can be started in so many different ways, and there's not just one way to do it. And yeah, I definitely didn't go to school for it. It was just something that I started pursuing, and then I watched opportunities kind of open up in front of me as I started pursuing it.
That's cool. It's funny because when you mentioned behind the scenes, I remember you posted a little bit of the behind the scenes around how your fabrics are made. And I don't know why, I just really love the behind the scenes, the
Hmm.
sharing of the behind the scenes of
Same
businesses.
here.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting, like, because it's the stuff that we never really see, like
Yeah.
really, I mean, that's why it's called behind the scenes. So it like, and I feel like we're just generally people who like to learn about stuff. And so seeing that, that's kind of oftentimes behind closed doors, we wouldn't necessarily be exposed to it very often, not having work in like certain industries and whatnot. And so I think, from someone who is very curious and likes to learn, like I always get really like, ooh, what are they doing? Like I like to see this stuff. It's so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is fun. It's funny because before I think that's what like, I saw the behind the scenes like when I was behind the scenes, like at first, like when I
Hmm.
was meeting them, I was like, whoa, this is so cool. So I had that same fascination because it's so easy to just, go into your closet and put your clothes on and never think about the hands that created it and never think about the
Hmm.
process and never think about how long it took to come up with that design. And it's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it. And it is fascinating once you realize all the steps and that it takes to get to you and into your closet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
totally.
So Emily, what was the first step you took? Like the very first step you took in starting your business?
The very first step I took to start my business was I actually started making and selling jewelry. So it wasn't a clothing brand at first. I sold jewelry and I actually sold sunrise shells. And I didn't know that this was like sunrise shell necklaces, like when that was really popular. And I didn't think that was going to be my forever thing, but I used it as like a gateway to be able to make some capital and to then start my, creating the actual products I wanted to create when I moved to Indonesia. So I guess that was like my first little way to like raise some funds to then support the product creation. And then I guess leading to that, the biggest first step was actually, living in Bali and spending time in Bali. That was, the biggest part of being able to create my business and starting.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So when you first started with making jewelry, did you already call it Yireh, or is that something that came up afterwards when you started to create other products?
I did call it Yireh back then too.
Mm,
Yeah.
hmm.
It was
Wow.
just, yeah,
Cool.
it always
The
stuck with me.
evolution.
I know it's really interesting. It's just always been, a word I love. It means will provide in Hebrew, and I've just always, wanted to. Whenever I'm creating something or if I'm putting something into the world, I just always want to think about other people and the effects that it has on other people. And I don't know. I just want to be able to sow into a deeper meaning of looking out for others and not just creating for like my own gains or profits or, anything like that.
Yeah, I appreciate your thoughtfulness around that. And, one thing that I will say that, I admire a lot that you were just talking about as well is that sometimes, we do have to start doing something to, like you mentioned, kind of build the reserves to then go off and do the next thing, like that I think that really talks about like the steps that you're taking to prepare to what you're going to do later. And I think sometimes we all need that reminder that, we start off somewhere and it can totally evolve into something else. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, totally. And it can be an imperfect journey. I started, the jewelry part I started when I was like 18, and then I actually launched my brand when I was 20. So you can imagine I didn't know anything. Like I was bootstrapping it. And so it doesn't have to, everyone's journey can look differently, and it doesn't have to just be one cookie cutter method.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, kind of building upon that, we're talking about things evolving. Were there any external or internal barriers that held you back at any point, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I think a lot of limiting beliefs and through time I can see like have, held me back in certain areas of thinking like, oh, I can't do that, or, that's too much, or that's too big to expand, or I don't know if I have like the abilities to like sell that much product, or, just like things like that. I feel like a lot of limiting beliefs have held me back in certain ways, and I've really had to come back to my core beliefs or thought processes, or just like my dreams and visions, in
Hmm.
order to overcome that. And, kind of like the things like I preach a lot of, empowerment and encouragement towards other women and being able to believe in themselves. But sometimes I have to also like remind myself of those things as well, and be like, you are also worthy of this, and you can also do this. And, so that has definitely been something I think that a lot of people don't talk about on the entrepreneurial journey, is, a lot of mindset work, and, gratitude, and remembering to come back to like your internal belief system, and to make sure that you're not like limiting yourself in any way.
I'm so glad that you said that because, I feel like over time, different experiences in your life kind of adjust the way that you posture yourself in life. And so rediscovering your values, like, was that a rediscovery process, or do you feel like, you just had to think about it a little bit?
Definitely, there's been rediscovery processes, and sometimes it's thinking about it and then being like, oh yeah, it's fine. But then, some seasons it's a lot bigger of like rediscovering and going back to the center and the core. Yeah, definitely rediscovering in some seasons.
I think a lot of our listeners will relate to that. And especially
Yeah.
because you have been successful with your business, and somebody who is out there thinking about starting a business and has limiting beliefs, it can be really tough to like just put their foot out there and do it, right? So
Totally.
thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, and I've heard, I'm not going to get the metaphor right exactly, but I've heard a lot of times that just starting and putting something out there is way better than obsessing over something that has to be perfect and then never getting it seen. So,
Hmm.
throwing things out there, and sometimes, fixed it along the way or improved upon it along the way as things went. And I know that that's not always everybody's method, but I do believe that it's better to start somewhere and get something out there. And it doesn't always just have to be like the perfect A+ work in everything that you do. And it's okay to start.
Progress
Yeah,
over
yep.
perfection,
Hmm.
right? Progress over perfection.
Totally. I
Yes.
100% agree with that because, sometimes when we have those limiting beliefs and we think that everything has to be like perfect to the T, that just, that we never start, right? We're waiting for the perfect whatever it is that we have in our minds, and we never get to doing the thing that we really wanted to do. And that thing could have been really amazing, right? It really could have taught us something or brought us whatever it is, right? Whatever we might have been looking for. And I think everybody, I don't want to give like direct recommendations, but I do think that like, the only way that we can learn sometimes is by trying, and, by experimenting and trying different things out is how we then evolve, like how you started with jewelry, and then, now you're making clothing. It's a process, and you have to figure out what are drawing others to you as well during that process. So Emily, I totally agree with starting is very important.
Yes, yes. Thank you. It's refreshing to hear other awesome women that agree and have similar mindsets.
Absolutely.
So is there anything that's going really well in your business that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so I feel like right now I have such an amazing team. It's a small team, but it's a mighty team. And we have, really, we're starting to dial in our systems, and we're all on the same page. And I can just really trust these women that are on my team. And I just I'm super thankful for that, as you know, I became a mother of two in the past, 2.5 years. And so it's been a whirlwind for me. So to have like a support system of, I have a brand manager, Erica, and a graphic designer, Carrie, who both do a lot for me, has been super awesome. And then just starting to delegate more things to like other subcontractors and asking for help has been really huge for me in this season. And I've been really thankful for that.
It's so funny that you say that because I've been hearing so much about delegation and asking for help. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's like the creepy internet thing where it like catches on to what you're thinking about. I don't know. And it just
Yeah.
is like showing up for me all over the place. And I'm hearing of businesses hiring, Shelly, what are they called?
Virtual assistants, that
Yes,
one?
thank you.
Yeah.
Virtual
Yeah.
assistants and just really delegating so that they're hyper focused on the most high value work, the value add work.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually have a question about that. So, how did you know that you're ready to bring on other members of your team?
Yeah, that's so funny because I ask this question to other people all of the time as well, because I feel like there's like no answer. Like I always wonder this, as because whenever I'm thinking like, is it time to bring someone else on? Like, how do I know? How do I know? But I think it's like when I could no longer do it by myself. Like I knew that I was being
Mhm.
stretched too thin. I knew I wasn't giving my all to, the different areas, or like my best work to different areas, and things were falling through the cracks and not getting done in a timely manner that I wanted to. And I just knew that like if I added somebody to help me, then I would have the ability, like you said, to focus on like the higher value things and to like actually cast vision over my brand and like the direction that I wanted to go in, to make sure that I could really handle like the manufacturing side myself, and like the design process and the prints, which I'm like the best at in my business, gate the other things to other people. And once I did it, it was very apparent that it was like, wow, how did I do this like even beforehand? And like we were able to like, yeah, just expand more. And I think it's just like taking the leap to do it, and then figuring out as you're going to like, okay, I have to make this work now. And it really does end up working out.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think as someone like for myself, I mean, the reason why I asked that question is I'm thinking of like for myself, like as I'm trying to build on things that I'm working on, I'm trying to like prepare myself in advance, I guess, for a
Yeah.
time where I will encounter that situation.
Yeah, it is such a unique thing for every single person, and I still am always curious when I have a lot of entrepreneur friends, and I ask them a lot just because I also want input and guidance. And
Mhm.
it is so different for everybody. But the one thing that I hear consistently is when you can no longer, you're stretching yourself too thin, then
Mhm.
and you also want to be able to live life. Like life is not just all about working, and you don't want to be working 60 hours, 70 hours or whatever a week. You want to be able to do the things you enjoy, and for you to stay motivated and inspired by your work. And that's not going to happen if you're getting burnt out.
Mhm.
I heard on another podcast that this woman was recommending that you hire before you have the need. And so do you
Mm.
feel like, you've gotten a lot of feedback from other business owners to notice when you're stretched too thin, but do you feel like now that you've hired people, you could kind of anticipate when you might need somebody again?
Totally, yeah. I think now that I have two, like the first person, like when I hired Erica a few years ago, it was definitely like a big jump for me. And like, that was really scary. And then once I started, then I brought Carrie on, and then I've worked with like a lot of people just like subcontracting. It is definitely like easier to expand or to give those people even more like work once you're already
Mhm.
doing it. And I think that now like we just started like an affiliate program, and I didn't necessarily need to like add that or hire somebody to help me with that, but I knew that it was something that I wanted and that I wasn't going to be able to run it by myself. So I
Mhm.
automatically like added that on. So I do believe in that as well, but I think you have to have a strong vision of what you want, because you can't just, once you hire people, like you're managing them, and then they are going to look to you for direction. So you can't
Yes.
just, hire and then be like, okay, I'll figure this out. Like you need to have like a pretty strong direction and vision. And then if you have that, I'm pretty sure that you'll be successful.
Very interesting. I love that answer. That's such a great way of looking at it. I have another question for you really quick around, you had mentioned earlier the items that you are really good at in your business, like the fabric patterns. Are those
Mhm.
also things that you tend to enjoy doing more than the other things?
Yes, I like so many different areas of the business, so it has been like really hard for me to like give certain things up. The design and the prints and that is definitely what I enjoy doing, and the creation part of stuff, but the like keeping track of the manufacturing and on top of, production and stuff is not what I really enjoy doing. But I still feel like I am the one that has to be in control of that, and for now. But definitely the design part I do, but I actually like geek out over like analytics and like the back end of the business stuff too. So that has been harder to like relinquish some responsibility for, because I actually still really love doing that as well.
Oh, very interesting. You like
Yeah.
both sides of the coin.
I know. Yeah, to an extent. I mean, I'm the type of person that I can't do it each one all day, every day. I need to have some
Right.
variety.
Sure, sure. Well, on the flip side, what challenges do you seem to be facing right now in your business?
Oh man, there has been a lot of challenges recently, as I'm sure many businesses are facing in the pandemic for the last 2 years. 2020 wasn't as hard. 2021 has proved to be extremely challenging for manufacturing. Just, I'm sure you've heard of like, worldwide shortages, the backup of the factories and shipping, and all of that has been a huge trickle down effect from the pandemic. And so one of our factories actually closed completely, and I had been working with them for 6 years, and they gave me like a few weeks notice, and I had open orders with them. And so it was really hard to like switch everything from there over to another factory I was working with, and then finding all new printers and suppliers to like print our fabric in the middle of like already having orders to fulfill. So that was really challenging. We're only just like kind of getting out of that, and like shipping has been a
Wow.
whole nother thing. But yeah, it's been an interesting year.
Yeah, for sure. And we just saw some information a week or so ago that USPS is going to start increasing some of their rates as well. That's so crazy.
Yeah, I think increasing rates, and then I think it's going to be slower moving.
Yes, that's right. Oh man,
Yeah,
double whammy over there.
I know it is. It is. Yeah, it's definitely been challenging, but it's been a lot of pivoting and getting really creative and coming up with, other things that I've wanted to do before and haven't had the opportunity to do yet. And so we definitely were able to like get through it, but it was very challenging.
Well, at least it must have been nice to have a team with you to kind of go through it and have some support there.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I have a very supportive husband, so that was helpful
Oh,
too.
that's great. That's so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing.
All right. So we talked about some of the challenges that you're facing, and so happy to hear that you're coming out the other end now. What are things that keep you motivated to keep pushing forward?
Yeah, I think becoming a mother has like increased my motivation and just like my drive by like tenfold. It really put all of my priorities into perspective, and really wanting, and like got me hyper focused on why I want to do what I'm doing. And I think to like stay daily motivated, it's making sure that I take time to like also do things that I love and that are meaningful to me, and to remind myself of like my core values. Motivation is definitely hard when, when all the responsibility lands on you to stay and to motivate other people. It can definitely be hard to stay motivated yourself.
Yeah. Are there ever times that you feel like burnt out? And if so, what do you do to kind of turn things around for yourself?
Yeah, I do feel burnt out actually often. And whenever I'm starting to feel like an intense burnout or even just like the signs of it beforehand, I really have to take time off and just be able like get to relax. Like sometimes I'm just like always going that I need to have like breaks of like a few days or sometimes, a week or so where I just get to be me for a little bit and refocus and regroup. And working out is something that if I do that consistently throughout the week, it really keeps away a lot of like my anxiety and burnout. So I think it is important to find like a routine or something that you can do daily or a few times a week to kind of keep burnout at bay. But if you do feel the signs of it, I think it's like your body's way of telling you that something, it needs some time, it needs something. And I think it's important to listen to that.
Yeah, that's so great. It's like self-awareness and yeah, listening to your body. I think that's super important. It's definitely something that I am trying to do a better job at myself.
Yeah. Yeah, you do so much. There's always, you always have so many different things going on. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, do you have any business metrics that you track? I mean, maybe you do, maybe you don't. We think all answers are good here. Tell us a little bit about what you look at and how it may impact your operations.
Yeah, I definitely do track metrics. I guess maybe I'm not as like, I definitely have them all and I don't look at them all of the time, but I do have some key ones that I like to focus on. I think one of the ones that I learned in the past few years that is really important is first time versus returning customer rate and just like seeing
Mm,
like keeping an eye on how that goes because returning customers are so great like and I guess this is speaking on Shopify. This is I'm an e-commerce based business and so Shopify offers us all kinds of metrics and analytics and that's one of the reports you can pull and what's great about it is if return customers are wonderful and it shows that you have a loyal following that love your products and trust you to purchase over and over again. But it's also great to have a lot of first time customers and to make sure that
hmm.
your first time customers are increasing because that shows that your business is scaling and growing
Yeah,
rather than
yeah,
just staying the same. And so that's something I like to keep a close eye on.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got
And
two
then I
returning
think,
customers right here.
oh, you guys are the best. You're so sweet.
Don't tell my husband though.
Okay, I won't. Your secret's safe with me.
I'm just
He's gonna
kidding.
hear this. He's gonna hear this episode.
Oh
Yeah, he
no.
knows. I'm totally joking.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. But I do think it's really important to set goals and to have like, monthly goals or revenue goals in general to try and hit because I realize if you don't necessarily have something to aim towards, you might not hit that. It'll just like be flowing around throughout the month or
Hmm.
years. But if you have like tangible goals, it becomes a lot easier to work towards that. And you usually like are able to hit them, I think.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit more about that. Like, what are your overall goals for the business?
Yes, my main goal is definitely like our mission to inspire and encourage women and to be a light in the fashion industry and to just kind of do things differently. Like, I feel like the fashion industry has been so negative at times towards women, like causing a lot of anxiety or, body issues and just making women feel like they have to purchase certain things in order to be quote unquote like cool or beautiful or to feel a certain like they fit in. And I just don't want to play into that narrative. And I want women to feel like they are already beautiful and already amazing and buy clothes for themselves and that that they look at and they're like, oh, I feel so joyful when I wear this or this makes me feel like who I was made to be. Like, you put it on in the morning and you just feel like you're going to have a great day and instead of like kind of those opposite negative I don't know feelings. So I think that that's like my main goal with my business and my brands and the things that come alongside it are lots of bonuses.
And do you set other goals for your business, like milestone goals, anything like that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we set I definitely like on the business, I guess, yeah. So I have like a vision and goals for like creating community and fostering, kindness and compassion and being able to give. but also like as a business, we definitely have business goals and business metrics and revenue goals and, wanting to increase, grow year after year, kind of like how I was mentioning. We do set like a yearly goal and then a monthly goal, revenue wise. And then also we break down our weeks and stuff by promotions, and we do a lot of planning to make sure that we can hit those goals.
Cool. That sounds great.
Yeah. Is that something you've always done, or is that something that you've, setting goals, is that something that you've kind of always done since you started your business, or is that something that's kind of grown over time?
Definitely grown over time. Definitely just in the past, actually, like maybe 3 years, even 2 years. But yeah, I don't know why I didn't do it before, but I think, like I said, when I became a mother, it just really made things solidify. Like, I don't know, just solidified what my passions were and my drive for, creating a sustainable business and being able to offer like jobs for other people as well in the future. And so, yeah, I think that in the past few years is when I've really elevated.
That's great.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. Is there anything exciting coming up for your business that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yes, we have so many exciting things for the holidays, lots and lots of like new releases, promotions, but the one thing that I am most excited about is in November, we are actually going to release our first children's line, which I'm super
Oh,
excited for.
Wow.
Yeah, so I haven't really announced it much yet, but it's going to be like matching dresses, and I even have like a boys aloha shirt, to match with their moms and their Yireh. So I'm really excited for that.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And perfect for holiday gifts. I have 2 friends who just had babies, or one friend that
Oh,
had a baby and one that's about to. So, oh, that's so exciting.
yeah, and like I'm excited to see all the holiday photos, family photos, and their matching Yireh. I think it's going to be
hmm.
so cute.
I'm gonna have to make my husband wear a Yireh dress for Christmas or
Oh my
something.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
So that my son can wear your aloha shirt and I can wear mine.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that would be epic. That's
I'm
awesome.
sure he'd be thrilled.
You know what? His
Yeah.
body type is perfect because he's really tall. So
Oh my gosh. That would be hilarious.
I'm not sure I can make that happen, but man, it would be great.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm sure he's listening to this and like, oh man, what am I getting myself into?
Nah, he just left. I heard the garage open, so he's
Oh yeah, he's like, I'm not gonna be a part of this.
so funny.
All right, well, we are going to move into Tempsy's favorite part of every episode, which is the rapid fire questions.
Woohoo!
Yay!
All right. Have you ever tried a subscription service, either for like meals, snacks, pets, beauty, fashion, like any of those? And if so, which one?
Surprisingly, no, because I know there's like a million out there. So when I saw this question, I was like, I can't believe I've never tried one of these. But if I did have to pick one, I would love a food subscription service so that I didn't have to think about dinners.
No, that's so funny you say that. We did a whole episode on meal subscriptions and food delivery services. So if you want some more insights on like HelloFresh or some of the ones that are located in Hawaii, you can check that out. And that's for all of our listeners too, if you haven't heard that one. But it gives you really detailed insights on our experiences. So
Yay.
probably overly detailed, but back to rapid fire. What's one thing that you have to do before you start your day?
Offer gratitude.
Oh, that's so amazing. I feel like I've tried to have a gratitude practice for 75 years, and I just like have to keep trying, keep trying. But I'll get it one day.
I heard somebody, say it super simply is like, just when you wake up, just say thank you. And just like, offer some thanks, or like, as you're walking your first steps of the day, like say thank you. And that's something has been easier to stick to.
That's great advice. because that's really
Yeah, that's
simple.
really simple. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I just started using this app called Reflectly, and it has some great like simple prompts, and you get to decide how much you want to enter. And that's been really nice for like when I'm on my walks in the morning, or if I have a little bit of downtime, I use that. But I actually like yours better.
Oh,
There's
I'll
so
have to
much.
check that out.
No, it's really good. It has some really great things that it shares. So, anyways, how do you practice self-care?
Through working out, surfing, and just having alone time to myself, sometimes just taking a walk.
Oh, very nice. So
Those are
cool. You're a
great.
surfer. That's awesome.
Yeah, yes. I don't get to do it as much as I used to, but it's my favorite thing.
Wow, that's so cool.
That's awesome. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you so much, Emily, for being our guest on The Outright Effect. Can you let our listeners know the best places to find you?
Yeah, definitely on Instagram. I'm super active on there. I answer all of the DMs. And our handle is Yireh _. So YIREH _. And also on our website, shopyireh.com, if you wanted to take a look at any of our creations.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you so much for talking with us today. I really loved our conversation. It was so inspiring, and I loved hearing a little bit more about your business and all of the great things that you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on the show, and I look forward to listening to all of your other episodes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Emily. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Outright Effect. You can find us at theoutrighteffect.com. Follow us on our social media accounts on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, all at The Outright Effect. You can also reach out by emailing us at theoutrighteffect@gmail.com. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.